Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Public Opinion Core, where the truth ain't reality, but opinions are. And we're coming off of a weekend where we left off on a cliffhanger of Mia's testimony on cross-examination with Brian Steele. So, y'all know how we do. If you're new here, I am attorney Thelma Anderson. I own and I created the Public Opinion Court to give, basically to give light to someone breaking down the law the right way, the effective way, and leaving the opinions at the door. So with that being said, I have a special guest. Y'all know I like to bring guests on so that we can, commingle and partner and collaborate on the Freaky Rico trial, the first ever Freaky Rico trial. We ain't never seen somebody get indicted for being freaky. But hey, there are rules. Everything is new. If you got to be freaky on the legal way and not on the unlawful way, which the state has to prove. So with that, I'm going to let my guest introduce herself and y'all say hello and, welcome her in because we are 2.5 weeks into the Freaky Rico trial and it's still going.
Hey everybody, I'm Eladria Drummond, and I am a criminal defense attorney barred in Texas, Maryland, and DC. My own law firm, Drummond Law Group, is based in Maryland, but I am a Houstonian, so I'm always available down in Texas as well, but mostly practicing in the Maryland and DC area.
Yes. So just tell people you recently got some not guilties and things like that. So the people need to know, we Black Girl Magic is out here doing their big ones because not guilties on those type of cases are, rare.
Yeah. So recently I have had 4 jury trials this year already. One home in the small town. There's a small country, county called St. Mary's County, Maryland. And they say that nobody can win in St. Mary's County, especially on homicide trials, or violent crimes. And so I won 2 down there. I won a home invasion case, which is the highest form of burglary in Maryland. And then I just won an attempted murder case, with the not so cool, state's attorney saying crazy things, but it's been working out. And that's been the first win in about 4 years that anybody's ever won a homicide in that county. So, just trying to, do what I can for the people, for the good people,
So being that, I was on the other side, now I'm on the right side, which is not that side. Can you tell the viewers what's your experience with working with prosecutors when you are, trying to communicate to be the most effective for your client?
So for the most part, most of them, I would just honestly say if they aren't, and I'm just going to say if they're not Black, I don't really think they're that great. So I don't think that they work that hard. I think they have way too many resources to not win cases. And also police work is just shoddy, but that's the world we live in. But I just simply think that it's hard to communicate, right? It's hard to be effective. And in certain counties, they're offering top count only. They're pressuring people into staying longer. A lot of times the courts kind of tend to lean their way. It's always the light most favorable on every motion. So it is hard to navigate the space because in Maryland, I think because they are, in my way, is a little less, I guess, prepared, they don't like to really look at the case. I always say that prosecutors look at things oddly from a different lens. I don't understand how we're looking at the same facts and you don't see this isn't a case. It's not a case. So, you got to be trying to rehabilitate these people. Everybody isn't, they're not always not guilty, but they do deserve a good offer. So
I agree. That was one of the things that I used to pride myself on was when defense attorneys would come to me and tell me this ain't what it really is. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me what it really is, because I want to make sure that on my end, well, when I was a prosecutor on my end, I was doing everything that was good for that particular case. And I do think when we're talking about the others, the Caucasians, they don't have that life experience. They don't have that sense of awareness of people's backgrounds and how they grew up, to where they should take account in how they assess cases. And that's one thing that I always used to do, is I would used to take into account. I'm like, let me get to know who this defendant is. Let me get to know where they come from, what were their circumstances, how did they grow up, were they in a 2-parent home or 1-parent home, did they finish school, do they have aspirations?
Right.
Because it's about rehabilitation, not relocking them up. Because once you lock them up here, they are going to automatically subscribe to that. And that's one thing that I always say, like, if they can get you up here, they're going to get you right here.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's the one thing, like when you talk about that, it just brings back so many memories. And which is why I wrote Shut Up and Prosecute, because I saw it and I lived it. And I used to get in trouble, girl. I used to get in trouble. Like, we ain't doing this. No, not today. You better not. That one right there. Let them go. Turn them loose.
Definitely a disconnect. They definitely are a disconnect for what's real. Like, just not knowing the plight. But out here, like, I'm one of the only Black female defense attorneys. There's not that many that are outside of the public defender's office. So, and a lot of people don't realize I'm what you call a panel attorney. So I take cases called low bono. So these cases that I won, they didn't pay anything for these cases. I was paid, to take them on. So they're basically pro bono to the client. And I guess there was like, oh, Drummond, you go so hard for all your clients, you must be getting paid big bucks. I'm like, not really on these cases. I'm not. I'm just here for the people, though. This is about justice. At the end of the day, there was a victim, and we have to recognize that was a victim, that something really happened. But did you get the right person? And if so, prove it. I'm very big on prove your case. You have a burden for a reason, and I don't think that we live life on hunches. This is not guesswork. You don't have to guess that I'm guilty. Like, you have to make sure that you put forth the case. And I don't believe in lazy prosecution, right? Like, you can respect somebody who did their job, and you be like, well, they did lay that case out. But if you're not going to actually do your job, you just think we're going to hand them over to you and just keep locking people up. I don't care what the race is. People deserve adequate representation. And they also deserve a fair trial, a fair chance, even if it's not a trial, fair chance. And I just don't think enough people do that. So, for people like you, that's a good thing.
Listen, I wanted to give you your flowers because, I've seen the grind. I've seen how hard. I've seen, where most people would have quit. But now, girl, you in 3 different jurisdictions. You can come on home whenever you want to. You can pick up a case or two. Like, oh, you gonna see me? Like, you gonna pop up in your suit, doing your big one. So I celebrate you, and I just look forward to seeing so much more from you, and how you gonna be going up in that courtroom taking names, like literally taking names for the interest of justice. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, with that being said, we got to get into somebody that can be your client, because we go through hot topics. And today, our hot topics, before we get into the hot topics, everyone, make sure when you enter the room that you are liking and subscribing to the page, as well as, I forgot to mention, it's the summertime, it's hot, it's hot in Texas, and you want to make sure you got some nice gear. So make sure you are visiting Real Life Street Stars merchandise and getting your merch up so you can be out in these streets, because I know y'all gonna be out standing on couches this summer. I can't stand on the couch because I got one leg right now. I tore my ACL, so I'm gonna be in the house, on the couch. So go get your merch, okay, y'all? Okay, good. Now that we settled that, let's go ahead and get into Mr. What they call him? DDG, but what was the nickname? Doodoo.
Doodoo garbage.
Doodoo garbage. Let's get into doo-doo garbage because the way he was acting was very doo-doo garbage. Because you got too much money, too much influence for you to be out here acting like doo-doo garbage. So we all saw this past weekend that the DreamCon was in Houston. And I remember DreamCon was in Dallas like in 2016 at the very inception of it. I did not know how big DreamCon was because I was like, ain't there some weird stuff going on up in there? Like they up in there dressed like I had to ask what was DreamCon. And that was like, no, it's like the comic books and things like that. I was like, oh, because I was wondering why my homeboy, and which I love him. He's a man's man, but he gonna be up in there. He was in there with his karate chop suit on. I was like, what is you doing in there? And then I was like, no, this is a big, 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 big thing. So Doodoo Garbage was in there because I'm gonna call his just name is Doodoo Garbage. It's not DDG. You can't be mad. He in there got into a whole altercation, jumping people. And this is the problem. And we can both appreciate this. You more so on the defense side. When you tell your clients anything you say, post, film, send, whatever, can and will be used against you in the court of law, and their streaming platform got him bright as day. He can't deny it. It's going to be subpoenaed. They're going to get him. Everything is going to be everything. And guess who they're going to use to authenticate it? His damn self.
Yep.
Because he was in there recording, which he should have just walked away. But let's get into some of the footage that we have from DDG. And let me tell y'all, what I did was I went in and I grabbed the before, the during, and the after. And the after ends with the victim speaking, as well as DDG, his brother, and him making even more admissions. Like, I'm like, shut up, doodle garbage. Shut up. I could see this right here. That's what he needed. He needed the gavel. Shut up. So let me go ahead and add it to the stage.
In real life and say doodle. If a fan came up to me on some doodle garbage shit, bro, I'ma hold that nigga so goddamn bad, bro. Niggas know better. Get your bitch ass out my face, nigga. Then I'm gonna pull his car so crazy, he gonna have to fight me. Security got pole on him, now nigga lost his life because he wanna troll and shit.
Calm down with that garbage shit. Calm down. Everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. Yo, real quick. Get it real quick. One picture real quick. Check this nigga. Come on, check it. Can I get you the picture real quick?
Hold this real quick. What we got going? Mike, hold this. It ain't hold this. What you say? What we got going? What you say? Doodle garbage. Like,
No record. No, that's my brother, nigga.
nigga, you straight? Nah, he got a head.
Nah, he got it.
What's good, nigga? Yes, sir.
Man, that nigga need. Well, you just seen him get in a fight, bro. What's the fuck?
Okay.
Not gonna lie, y'all. If I got my ass beat, I'll say I'm suing too.
So that's just one of the many videos. And when we're done, I specifically want your opinion and your assessment of what we have just witnessed. So we're finna go to video number 2. This is a more close-up scene of the actual assault and then the victim speaking. Then we're gonna go to DDG talking to Kai Sinet, and we're gonna finish with some audio that he'd like to talk about. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all probably saw me at DreamCon earlier. Of across y'all phone screens getting assaulted by DDG, his brother, man, one of his friends or something like that. I want them to go ahead and come out here to tell y'all how that whole thing started. So boom, I'm standing there, me and my boy standing in the vendor hall, we chilling. See DDG walking by, and it's whatever. I heard about DDG before. I heard the name, heard the term doo-doo garbage before. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it'd be funny, just a little joke to do. All right, so I call him doo-doo garbage from around the way. His homeboy decided to come back. His brother, Doug, decided go ahead, come back. Tried to press me about what I said. He said, "What you said?" I said, "Doo-doo garbage." "What you said?" "Doo-doo garbage." Push the shit out of me. All right, so I called him doo-doo garbage. DDG brother Doug came out of nowhere, sussing me right then and there, pushed me. Right after he pushed me, I got back up, just trying to, like, you know what I'm saying, I just back up, and he came up, boom, hit me in my under my left eye. I'm like, hold on. Boom, I'm doing what I gotta do here. And I see another dude, his homeboy, I'm assuming, come in out of nowhere. So I'm trying to back up. I ain't trying to fight both, especially both of these dudes at the same time. You feel me? Pause that bitch right there.
So tell me why you wasn't swinging back.
I wasn't trying to fight at all, in general. I was at a dream con trying to just have fun with my folks.
See, milk.
I'm bringing in my
This is
people
what
from
you
California
call
for the first time.
milk.
Trying to have fun over there. And mind you, this is the first time, I'm pretty sure in 7 years, that dream con has been going on. 7 years. I don't think anything's ever happened until EG, people with a history of violence, decide to show up, you know.
DDG said it's a skit. Like, is that true?
Man, that ain't no skit. I got banned from the event. I can't go back now, and I'm not sure if I can go back next year, which I hope I can. You know, I spent a lot of money coming over here, trying to have fun with my people. And I'm not sure if he got banned from the event, which I assume he did, because that goes with his people. But I gotta let you know now. I gotta take legal action against him or his brother, somebody out here. That's unacceptable for real. They done broke my chain. I'm banned from the event. I'm over here. Glass is gone. I ain't got the glasses no more. The glasses made my whole fit. Come on.
So why did you call him doo-doo garbage? Like, why'd you say that?
I thought it was all jokes. I never seen DDG react like that in the past. Never seen him tell anybody to go do something to anybody else. So I'm thinking it's all good. It's all cool. I seen him throw some gloves to some people that said it to his face a few times. You know, even if he did that, I would just been like, hey, my fault, man. Whatever, went along my way. But he didn't want to do that. I can't lie. His brother came up to me and started putting. I seen a lot of people saying that I was following DDG around, him and his friends around. But that's simply not true. That's actually the opposite of what happened. We was all just in the vendor hall, sitting there chilling, doing our thing. He walk in. What happens. I just had to come back on here real quick and clear that up to play online, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Oh, he was following them around, and that's not true. That's a lie.
Okay, we got some more because sir is milk. You want him to be the cow? He got the whole supply. He gonna supply you with all the milk that you need because he know the ball is in his court. So let's keep on showing you how to ball. He didn't dribble that damn ball, and I don't know what doo-doo garbage is doing.
Oh yeah, you know, man. What's going on? Nah, bro, the nigga trying to ego us, bro. Trying to ego us. Why y'all ain't fighting?
We ain't fighting. It was a skit.
Oh, the skit. Oh, the skit. Okay.
How many of them you got, bro?
Huh?
How many you got?
Like,
Right.
how many of these shit you got, nigga? You have a lot.
We're the same shit.
Baby. Okay, let's listen to his little audio.
Around the whole entire DreamCon, trying to embarrass us and bully us. I told my brother to check him in terms of like check and see if he's okay. Check and see if he needs help. Cause y'all know I'm a helpful person. You feel me? Check and see if this man needs help. Check and see if he's all right. Cause he kept following us. We thought he was like a little slow or whatever. So, you know, it happened. And the guy continued to try to hecker. How you say it? He became a heckler and he kept trying to just bother us. So he lost Sonic rings.
Okay, y'all. Listen, okay, we have heard from both sides. We saw Kendrick squabble up, it was a whole squabble up at the DreamCon that is supposed to be about fantasy, freaking comic books, streaming, people up there just, having a good time, and they in that squabbling. So I'm gonna let you take the floor and explain to us what's going on, what could happen, and what do you see happen for doo-doo garbage?
So this is all comes down to he would have to deliberately have a jury trial. Like he would literally need one, because it would come down to jury selection as to what type of people would believe what side. Mm-hmm. Because he's the type of client that will tell you when you get him, I would never say anything. And then the discovery comes in and you get all these videos. And then you're like this, okay, well, what do we do now? But I see, since you have a victim who is milking it so heavy, his story is never going to stay the same. So he's an easy target. He's the one I want to understand that I want him to keep making statements because he's going to mess up. And then as far as my defendant, you don't need to say a peep because you've already said enough. The only way you say it again is if we now have got your complete story together, and by every video, because in each video, he's kind of saying something that would make it semi-believable. This could have been a skit because you have a lying victim who's going to keep milking it. So it makes him less credible. And we don't have really a lot of people who, other video surfaces that show he was following him around, then it makes DDG or doo-doo garbage a lot better. Yeah. A better defendant. And then you make that final decision if you need him to testify, right? Like he just can't make another statement. Yeah. I don't know. But right now, it's giving 50-50. The victim really is not really victiming enough for me. He would be kind of bad for the prosecution. He's one of them ones where they say you're learning like I'm learning on the stand. Happens all the time. Yeah. And if he has a Caucasian, again, prosecutor that isn't, but it's Houston. Houston, they have some pretty solid prosecutors, so I think they'd be fine. But they'd have to really build a narrative around him, and he needs to stop talking.
Listen, when you said skit, now I can see how a skillful, good defense attorney can use that to say their intent was that they were going to create a skit out of this. It just so happened that it became physical. So you got to look at the intent at the time. And let me be clear. I don't know exactly what, I know DDG's brother and the camera guy are going to be the two, I can tell can be the two co-defendants in this. I'm not sure how they're going to craft DDG because he only said check him. So I don't see how he has risen to the level for that. It's gonna have to be crafty. I don't see it for him, but definitely his brother and the camera guy. And I also saw it on part of the video. He was telling somebody, "Get off! That's my brother." But civilly,
civilly he would have an issue. Like in a civil suit, then DDG is definitely named but I also think he's named as a defendant because he enticed it, right? Like he encouraged it.
I can see that.
If you're talking about somebody who's saying, "Oh, I'm gonna check him," you're like, "Yeah, go check him." But also, there's one recording, and I don't know if we played this one where he says, "No recording, no recording."
Yes.
So that's damaging to DG because it's like you knew because y'all went back. So when this
could have kept going.
So you chose to go back. And this is not what they call out here a mutual fray, where it's like we both are engaging in this type of behavior, but that wasn't that. You targeted him and you challenged him like you knew what you were going to do next. And it doesn't help that he said, if somebody does that, what they think going to happen. You're planning yourself as this person who would do it. So I think him encouraging it, and if these people speak at your command and they there to protect you, then you basically were the person who said, "Go do it." You're guilty. That's accomplice liability.
Man,
that's where he gonna be right there. So
Miss Darius County, he better go and get. I know some good defense attorneys that could really work that, do that big one on it.
Honestly, all of them could get off. Honestly,
Yeah.
if you have the right one, because for me, that would have been it's a whole scene that just happened. That was a scene that went wrong, and then but they should be filing a cross complaint. You know, me, I'd say, we felt threatened. We felt attacked. He was following us around, stalking, harass. Somebody's getting charges on the other side, because when they have that, then you can both get that drop.
And not only that, as we merge into Freaky Rico, the one thing that I'm going to be curious to see is how this dynamic is going to work out with his baby mama and his child case, because she has alleged that he uses people and his followers are a problem. So let me see. We have a legal question. What about mutual comeback? Is that a thing in Texas? Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, like mutual afraid in Maryland is what they call it, but yeah, the same thing. If you both engage in that type of behavior, then absolutely.
Yeah.
Do that with it.
So listen, y'all. Tell us what you think in the comments. Do you think DDG is going to get in trouble along with his brothers, or do you think he gonna get off? Now we talking about Houston, so let us know in the comments what you think is going to ultimately happen, or what you can see happening in this in Doodoo Garbage. Because Doodoo Garbage, listen, just change your name if you don't like Doodoo Garbage, because you acting like out there making too much money, looking, doing all these great things, and you out here acting a fool at a DreamCon. So tell us what you think. Now we're gonna go ahead and segue into the Freaky Rico day. Oh, let me remove Mr. D Garbage. So we're going into Freaky Rico day 14. And let me tell y'all, Mr. Brian Steele, hold on, let me go to this one. Brian Steele was on Demon Time. When Future talked about Demon Time, this man was on legal Demon Time. He would not turn Mia loose. And this is what I talked about last week as we had the cliffhanger for this, and how my sentiment was that the defense was just not defending, because this is this man's life. This is his freedom. And when they let the mama get off scot-free, like, you use that mama to show that she ain't never tell you about this, but now we know, like, you got to add something to more than what they were doing. So that was my biggest concern. So when I saw what Steele was doing, and I saw what the other defense attorneys are, I'm like, okay, they Thursday, Friday start fighting back. It looked, I said, okay, they got a second win. But good Lord, I did not expect this second win to come in the form of a devil, because the testimony, the responses, it's like she was being re-victimized. But this is cross-examination. So you have to expect that they're going to come guns blazing at you. And I give my kudos to Brian Steele, like, Demon Time. You should have brought him on sooner, Diddy. I don't know what you was ordering. You should have brought him on sooner, because maybe, just maybe, it could have been crafted even more clever. The picture is crazy, Tay. Because that's how he was acting, y'all. It was just like, Demon Time. But that's how you want your defense attorney to show up. You want them to one, know the law. You want to know that they know how to work that courtroom like it's theirs. You want to know that they can control the other side and keep them in line. You want to know that they can effectively represent you, especially on a case that is this big. And if they got to dig their teeth, they just got to dig it. And that's exactly what he did. So what are some of your preliminary thoughts on the testimony or the effectiveness of his cross-examination?
So I feel like I know, like, the way they're building the narrative. Like, you know, a lot of people are thinking, oh, these people are having to relive it. They picked a jury that could be confused by either one, because it's just like earlier when they say he's no victim, right? There's some people on that jury that believe that none of these people are victims. In fact, a lot of people don't believe any of these people are victims. As sad as that may be, they just don't think it. And so on the defense, I think people fail to realize we only need one. I only need one. And so if it's working and you got people who are telling you all the time, they're reading this jury the whole time, like, hey, they're reacting well to that. They're reacting well to that. So you just keep digging in. I don't care how hurtful it is. I don't care if you're crying. I don't care if you're upset. Now, I'm going to be gentle if I can. I'm more welcoming. I do the whole, like, I get it. I understand. Yeah. And then once I get on a roll, that's it. Like, I'm not going to stop, because, you know, it's when the defense is able to testify for our client. They're not putting Diddy on the stand. Right. So they're basically asking the question he wants to know. They're telling his story. Like, this person was around you all this time. They didn't think to go tell anybody ever. You were so attached to this person. You had to be around them all the time, but you never felt the need to tell anybody. Like, that's the story that they're painting. And I think, I don't care how long it takes. Sometimes people do get annoyed. They get very long-winded. And I'll be like, okay, you got to wrap that in. But I think he's trying to dig in on the ones that they have a better chance of painting the narrative, because they are not going to have enough. They don't have enough good witnesses for the defense, right? So they're picking the ones that they can attack the longest to get the strongest testimony. Whoever's the closest, that's better for the defense to attack, to build his narrative, to say. And also, well, I'll go into what I really think, but we'll get there. But that's my
baby, because this about to get spicy. I hope y'all are ready. I hope you are making sure you get those likes up. Because listen, today, baby, I could have drunk me some wine after. I was like, oh Lord, can a girl get off the stand? So you know how I do, y'all. I like to give y'all a visual just so that y'all can see the authenticity of how this case is actually going to give it right to you without you having to figure out what was said and what was did. So what I'm going to start with is the continuation of her cross-examination with Mr. Steele. So he started at the gate. Do you have footage of Mr. Combs berating you? Mia says no. That would have violated the NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. And we'll get into the NDA at the end. Still, you have no text messages, Mia. They showed me some during direct. Still, showing what? She said, Mia said, Puff saying, fuck it, let's go to war. Still, anything on your phone showing you being brutalized by Mr. Combs? Mia, I don't think so. Still, August 29, 2020, he texts, glad you're well. Love, send me the footage of the doc. Mia, yes. So the doc is, he was up for a role with James Brown that Chad Boswick ended up beating him out of. So she had texted him to let him know, like, hey, I still got, some of the footage. I still have your audition. And this is basically what he's asking for. I thought it was the Bad Boy documentary that she was working on, but it was that. Still, he said he would only remember the good times. Mia, yes. So this is what he texts, and this is also what she has implied as well. Still, who threatened to tell Cassie that Mr. Combs allegedly assaulted you? Mia Puff. Because that's what she call him. I call him Diddy. I call him Baby or Diddy. Whatever Diddy. He got a lot of Diddies. Still, did you follow him around writing funny notes? Mia, yes. Still, you never produced those notes. Mia, no. But I was brainwashed. I won't lie. I won't lie in this courtroom. So I kind of feel like she could sense what he was trying to do. So she like, oh, you ain't finna make me out to be no lie. I'm finna tell the truth. Still, why didn't you respond or tell people what he did? Mia, I was brainwashed. Still, why didn't you respond to tell people what he did? Mia, I was brainwashed. Still, you said you had a more obligation to speak up. Why not in 2017? Mia, again, I was brainwashed. Still, when did you first say me too? Mia, when I saw he was being held responsible and she started going to therapy. So on this particular question, he was basically asking her, when did you first say, oh, okay, me too, like this happened to me too? So that's the reason why he asked that, and that was her response. Still, he said he needed a copy. Mia, I think he meant the James Brown video. Still, scrapbook. Mia used to make these scrapbooks. So on Cross Friday, he dug into her on Friday too. I'm not even gonna hold you. More so about that scrapbook. And I was like, shit, I ain't never make no damn scrapbook for nobody. At this point, like, ain't nobody getting no damn scrapbook. I don't know you, Sawyer fucking Nara. Like, shit, no. And Mia said, I think I have PDFs. I gave it to him as a birthday gift, customized in the purple leather suit. Like it was like a kind of like a picture that she customized in the suit that like James Brown. Still, you text him to crush it in your hometown. Mia, yes, I couldn't attend because my grandmother was sick. And also she mentioned because Virginia Beach, she was like, we never get this type of attention in our city. So I was just like, crush it. And still, oh my God, he shouldn't even said this. He said, I send my condolences to you. Sir, you trying to kill this woman on this stand. You ain't worried about no damn condolences. Miss us with that sentiment because we know you about to go straight to her jugular on whatever question. And still, what was the event? Oh, so on this one, she reached out to Diddy about the Miami. You remember when them kids was wilding in Miami and it was like spring break is over for you? Pharrell had planned an event, and I'm assuming Diddy was a part of it. She texts Diddy, about not her being a part of it with him, but lending whatever, she could do to, curb the violence in Miami during beach week or college week. Still says you wanted to meet with him. Mia, no, I only said that. Like, okay, yeah, I said that, but that's not what I meant. Still, you were communicating with him. Mia, yes. No one batting it. No, she said he said you were still communicating with him. She says yes. And on this context, just to give some context, it was more so she was communicating with him because she knew no one would really stick up for her. No one, if anybody that was around during that time, anybody that was getting abused, nobody said anything. He was being praised in public. So she still kind of sought his approval after. After leaving, it was still the sense of needing his approval. Still, you're telling this jury you were scared of Mr. Combs? Mia, I was scared when he was scary. Still, you and Cassie were best friends, but you didn't tell her. Mia, Diddy wouldn't allow it. Still, was Cassie in love with Combs? Mia, I thought so. Still, did you ever tell her the person you loved the person she loved sexually assaulted you? Mia, no. Still, why would you cover up for Diddy? Mia, he'll take my phone, track me. I couldn't tell her anything. I had to repeat what he told me. I felt terrible. Still, you did not mention sexual assault during mediation. Mia, no. My attorneys got 200,000 for her, and her attorneys got 200,000. She eventually she was suing for 10 million, but she only ended up with 400,000. I kind of feel like her lawyers gave her that 10 million. I don't think she was too. I don't think she was too up like she did. I don't think she came up with that number. That's just my opinion. I think her lawyers came up with that number. They said this is Diddy. We gonna get that. We gonna get that money on. However, y'all, why the wives be saying it now, the youngins be saying it now. Um, she said she couldn't talk about it because it was privilege. She mentions the privilege of her speaking to her attorneys or speaking to her therapist. She was very keen on, it's confidential, it's privilege, things of that nature, and still is going to get into trying to get in her business. So June 2024 was the first time you disclosed the assaults. Mia, yes, the rest is privilege. Still, you attended weddings and family events, but you claim you had no time to tell anyone what happened. So basically, what Steele was doing was building up. You ain't tell nobody until 2024. You claim that you didn't have time because Mr. Combs had you working all the time and you were isolated and all of these things, but you had time to go to family events, you had time to be around people, and you didn't use that opportunity to tell somebody. So that's how that that line of questioning happened. Mia said, I was never out of his grip. I had to be in contact with him 24/7. Still, why didn't you explain the abuse outside the work environment? Mia, it's more complicated than that. Still, you never advised Cassie to leave him. She'll say, no, I stayed quiet because the SA. Basically, she couldn't tell her based off of what she depicted and how Diddy had this power and control. It's like, I can't tell her that. So Still asks, why did it take you 7 to 8 months to come forward? And what he's speaking of 7 to 8 months after Cassie filed her civil suit. Mia, I didn't get proper legal guidance. So at that moment, she's saying, like, I didn't get proper legal guidance to how I should come forward or how I should present this. So that's pretty much what caused such a gap. Still, until 2024, you never told anyone. Mia, only my therapist, and that's privileged. Still, can't you waive that privilege? I was like, damn, still, it really? Demon time? Grab if I had some pearls on, I'm like, woo. Still, you're making now this right here, y'all, I'm not even gonna hold you. He would have had to see these hands. Like, I don't judge, go ahead and take me to the back, but he would have had to see these hands. He told her, you're making a Me Too money grab against Sean Combs. Girl, I said, what? Oh, geez, I'm still having flashbacks because I couldn't even. So he then went in to ask her, he was like, you weren't blacklisted, like how Capricorn Clark stated she was blackballed. He was like, you wasn't blacklisted. You went and worked for Madonna. You helped her with her film. You know, you had opportunities outside of this that you didn't get stopped. And so what she essentially said is that she found that outside of him. And what I think she did, which is what, you know, white women do so well, baby, they gonna go find another position. They're gonna talk that talk, and they're gonna walk that walk on up out of there, because they know how to use what they got to get what they want. So that's exactly what I think, how she finessed that. And I think Capricorn could have done the same thing if she would have utilized those connections and things like that. And that's what I tell anybody, like, even if you're on this live, utilize your connections. Do not be sitting back and being unfortunately Capricorn, you better be a Mia. You better be a Mia. So he was like, he started asking, like, basically he ain't take nothing away from you. And she was like, he took away the TV credit I was promised at Revolt. Still, you said you were surprised you were let go. Yes. He said, wasn't it due to your drinking? I was like, God damn, still shit. Like,
well, questions needed.
She was like, no. Still, what was the TV show about? Mia, a comedy about a small town girl that dealt with Diddy. Still, what movies did you work on while she was at Revolt? Lawless, Undefeated, Dope, and it was some more. Still, you enjoyed the projects? Mia, yes. Still, you called them a second family? Mia, we all did. Still, you consider Diddy a genius? Mia, at the time. Still, you wanted to keep working with him? Mia, I wanted to pursue my dreams. So I only did a snapshot of it because he was going in and he was hammering on the fact that there is no evidence. You didn't tell anyone. There's no video. There's no pictures. There are no bruises. There is nothing to back up what you're saying. And look how long you took to come out with this. And you waited after you saw Cassie and you saw how big of a payday she got. So that may have been an incentive, along with trying to grab onto the Me Too movement that was, taking effect. And it's still the Me Too, even though it has simmered down, but we know Diddy would have been right in the thick of things if they had all came out together. So here is just my assessment of his crossing, and I want you to give us what you thought of it before I go into Mia's short redirect. I feel like he was successful in painting the inconsistencies between Mia's past and present statements. He demonstrated post-abuse communication and professional collaborations. Some of the limitations, Mia explained her actions under duress, citing psychological control and fear. She held firm on the fact that Diddy had power, used threats, and manipulated her behavior. A lot of people feel like he shamed her. I said the tone and the focus on Mia's delayed outcry, continued contact, lack of disclosure could be interpreted as victim shaming. However, from a legal standpoint, still is doing his job to impeach the credibility of Mia. It was also like looking at his cross, it was like he's trying to catch her in a lie. And people was like, did he do it? Because I just saw him just beating her down. Then he catch the lie. So what he did was he raised contradictions. You don't necessarily have to get the lie. You just have to put a question into the atmosphere. And if there's a question and a doubt, guess what? Not guilty. So I think that's what he was doing. I didn't see him catch the lie, but I understand what he was doing, because Mia did admit to behavior that could seem contradictory, but she did remain consistent in asserting that she was manipulated and abused. So overall, I did acknowledge the contradictions that she explained in the context of her trauma. I do think she stuck to the narrative that Diddy used psychological manipulation, surveillance, and emotional abuse to control her. And she emphasized that she did not lie and had no reason to fabricate the abuse. But I do think from the defense standpoint, they did do good in how they weave between the web, and they cause those inconsistencies, because if you ain't got a leg to stand on, you got to stand on them inconsistencies, and you gotta make them loud, real loud. So that was my assessment of how effective. What do you think?
So I think there were two key things that she said, and she repeatedly said that I was brainwashed over and over. And then she said, I won't lie in this courtroom. So to me, that's huge, because I would reuse that over and over and over and over towards her. Because to me, what that screams is red flag is that this is all I have. This is what I'm going to continue to say, and this is what I'm going to do. We're talking about a case where we're talking about sexual assault. There are a lot of people who get wrongfully accused of sexual assault.
Yeah.
And if you're going to say you had a therapist, it wasn't until you got therapy that you realized who was at fault. It wasn't until I got to this point. Where's the therapist? If the prosecution doesn't put her therapist in particular on that stand with all of this testimony, then it's all nothing to me. And I'm going to paint this out to be, you have read this somewhere. You've thought this through. You had several years to think this through. And now that money is on the table and everybody's getting paid, you were brainwashed. But you're not going to lie today. See, that's kind of things I would say in the court. Literally, I would say, so you're not lying today. You won't lie in this courtroom because you're brainwashed. You're still brainwashed? You know, those are my questions, because what are we even talking about here? If every person gets up there, everybody is not a victim, right? There are some people who are up there lying. And there are some people who really actually this happened to. Let's be clear. Yeah. And I think that what they're really trying to build is that this is one person who is abusive, and this is one person who sexually assaults people. His whole enterprise is shaky.
Yeah.
And all of this ain't really an enterprise. This is all shaky people. Like, this is not what you're mounting this up to be, is not what it is. It's a person who's just doing a lot. And I don't think that she's credible. I'm gonna be honest. He did a great job of painting the narrative of, you're saying a lot to say nothing because nothing can back it up. Right? Like, Kathy had bruises. She had video. All these other people have things that are matching up. There's not one person yet that's going to match up to her story. So we'd have to see what weight to give that. I would give this one none, because she has nobody. There's nothing right now they're going to put to stand up her stuff. You have no evidence. There's no proof. There is just absolutely nothing that she didn't add value. She actually made it better for Diddy, to me, by even coming and speaking and waiting all of this. You're the only person who was so brainwashed. And then when she said, the last thing I think she said was, I'm sorry, I'm opening it up. She said, I wanted to pursue my dream. That was huge for the defense, because you're brainwashed, but your brain is functioning just well to keep finding jobs. Your brain function all do you think the defense did a good job of this? I think they did. That's just my idea. I mean, I think she said a lot of things that may not come out as discrediting right now, but it's going to happen in closing. Like, if they really hone in on her, I think she's good as a reasonable witness.
Because you gotta slice them down, like, especially when it comes to how many victims that they are bringing to testify. You're gonna have to pick one and create that sense of she lying. That means you can't trust any of them. They sat on it. They had an opportunity. They chose not to. But the opportunity now is to take our client down and make him lose everything. Who's that? Dre said she went up there and left Diddy or got fired, claimed she got word and still texting him and all dealing with him is crazy. Diddy got the Avengers as a lawyers and they bringing the heat. I don't think hold on, let me get my honest assessment of the team. I think there are too many chefs in the kitchen.
Agreed.
I think that when you have too many chefs, then small mistakes happen.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by small, and I said it still redeemed himself because when he and I'm like, why y'all making still cross all the hard witnesses? Get y'all ass up there and do something.
Right, because he could have did it by himself at this point.
Exactly. So he had, when he was talking about Capricorn emailing about a letter of recommendation, he was like, yes, in 2022. She said, no, it's 2012. This is when it happened. I was like, see, that's when you see little small things, and it's not going to be big because they're professional and they know how to navigate through it. But it's not cohesive. Like I could see the angle that he was going, which is a good angle, but I can't see the angle of them as a collective.
Right. Only one person has to have the theory. They have to have the theory. Like one person has to keep the theory going. Y'all have to have a theme and it has to keep hitting it. So there has to be the lead and the rest have to follow. But you can always tell when there's way too many people, because the moment it gets hot, you start going into what you think is hitting instead of sticking to the plan. You got to stick to the plan. Unless you just know this is going to nail it. We all know if we get to this moment, somebody says we've been all waiting on it, no matter who's up there should be able to attack. That comes back to the theory though, right? And right now I don't even honestly see the full theory. I think I know what they're trying to do, but it's so creeping. So I'm still a little lost with it. So,
and I feel bad. I'm like, shit, like put on the show. Like this is.
But I will say the problem is he has these witnesses. I mean, this is one of those cases where you like, it's just all bad. This one where we're like, a plea could have been nice, right? Like a real good plea might have been nice because he's not right now. But like I said, I think his jury is going to be what's going to. The jury is key. They picked a good jury, so I think that they have a chance. But I don't see it yet. I mean, it's just all over the place.
Yeah. Tanya, place your question in the chat. So Tay asked stated that a lot of them did sign NDAs, making it very difficult to come forward. Now I can say it is not, NDAs do not preclude you from testifying when it's criminal in nature. Right. So if there is something that happened in your presence that's a crime, that NDA is no longer effective. So because we know that there is, evidence out there that crime was committed or has been alleged, it won't be due to an NDA. It will be due to them not wanting to testify, not wanting to participate, being forced to come down, because at this point they know who all will be testifying. And who all they got to drag up in there with them subpoenas, and either you gonna come willingly or you gonna come in them cuffs. And I ain't never trying to be in no cuffs. So you listen, you gonna see me. You gonna see me. I might not give you what you're looking for, but you gonna see me because that's all you gotta do is see me. So Now we're going to get yes, you can still report even with an NDA. So NDAs protect whether you're in a relationship, you can have an NDA, business, you can have an NDA, your employment, you can have an NDA. If you create something independent, you can create based off of a need. What you cannot do is create an NDA and think that that precludes people from speaking about a crime that happened in their presence. That's a no-go. That's why they're getting these immunity deals, because a crime happened in their presence and they facility or they participated in that crime. So with that, I'm going to go into Mia's redirect, because I think it was hold on. I think it was, it got to the straight to the point. There are some things that I wish they would have readdressed, because and I sometimes, when it comes to us, we know how to because last week I talked, when I told them last week, I said, you have to, when you're in trial and people are talking, this is what your position should be, because you need to be writing down everything that they said, because I promise you, it's going to be that one thing that changed the direction of the case that they said, by putting a foot in their mouth and thinking that it's not being caught. So I kind of feel like they were not sitting over there writing down, because if they would have, how still kept hanging in on the communication, I would have redirected and said, oh, but Mr. Combs contacted you right after the lawsuit was settled. He had D-Rock contact you. He called you. He texted you. Then in February, D-Rock calls you again. Diddy calls you, leaves you a voicemail, texts you, and, following up saying, hey, he want to give you a present. So I think that they left that out. And I'm like, you got to hammer that, because they just literally left the impression to the jury that she was doing all this communication. And regardless if you touched on it on direct originally, you got to remind them this was not one-sided. He started contacting her when he needed something, so that was one of the biggest things. I was like, y'all missed that. So on redirect, the prosecutor asked, how do you feel about public speaking? Mia said terrified. That's why she met with the government so many times about this particular case, because he asked kind of subtly about that. The prosecutor asked, explain how you ended up on the comedy project. Puff gave me permission to work on it, which was the project that she was developing for Revolt. The prosecutor asked, are you able to testify about what he did to you without looking down? Because the sentiment and everybody that has been in the courtroom says she's basically like this. See? Like she's looking down. She's not trying to engage or have eye contact. And she said no, because it's the worst thing I've ever had to talk about in my life. The prosecutor says, any comparisons to testifying about Combs assaulting you? She said none. Then she ends with, why are you here today? Mia said, because I couldn't look at my goddaughters or my nieces in their eyes and advise them on what to do in this situation. So my sentiment is the redirect can be seen as highly effective. And this is kind of what I assessed. And I didn't add all of the redirect, just some of the points that I felt like they were trying to kind of solidify. It reestablished Mia's credibility by showing that her actions, like the social media, working on projects. Hold on, did I?
I think you didn't read the first part.
Okay. Oh yeah, because I was like, wait, I know. So let me go back, y'all. So at the beginning, the government started with, was posting to social media on your personal account part of your job? She said yes. The government says if you didn't do something he liked, what would he do? Mia, he would yell at me and humiliate me. Government, did other employees also post for Diddy's birthday? And the reason why they brought this up, and I'm going to play the video because they made this a point of contention about her and this doggone birthday video that she
Years
made.
of brilliance. Let's fuck shit up. I love you. Happy birthday. Revolt.
Okay, let me start that over.
He revolutionized the game, but the entire world. I'm so blessed to call you my friend. Thank you for truly being one of the biggest inspirations in my life. To another 44 years of brilliance. Let's fuck shit up. I love you. Happy birthday. Revolt.
Okay, so to go back to the redirect, they brought that up so much that that's the reason why they asked that question, because still wasn't trying to identify nobody else doing no doggone video. He was focused on her. You did this video and we talking about you. You understand? They not understand. They want to ask, they can ask. They didn't ask on direct, so I'm finna ask on cross. And I'm gonna do however I want to do it. And excuse me, the government asked, was this birthday video for Club Diddy? And I don't even remember. I remember something about he was doing like a Club Diddy, not a club that I want to go to. And she said, yes. Did Mr. Combs co-own the water you were drinking and was shouting out revolt part of your job requirements? She said, yes. Government, when did you feel safe? Mia, when he was happy, I felt safe. Mia, I had been abused by him before, so I knew his wrath. Government, did you engage with a lawyer? She says, yes, a pro bono lawyer. And I'm assuming that is the whole long how long it took her to respond. I guess they were trying to flush that out. So with the effectiveness, it's not really much that they could redirect on, because what you all don't know is that the government is precluded to the scope of what the defense asks. They can't go and ask anything new. They got to be on point with what the defense talked about on cross-examination. So that's the reason why this is just a summary of basically putting both the directs and the redirect together to get what they were trying to do, which was Diddy had explicit control or coercion, and they did not have their own personal will. They reframed the narrative away from the inconsistencies highlighted by the defense, redirecting the jury to the emotional truth and trauma. Mia answers conveyed fear, manipulation, emotional damage, reinforcing the core elements of abuse and coercive control that the prosecution must prove, not trying to prove, must. That's different. The prosecutors also addressed some of the defense points like public appearances and employment by clarifying Diddy's involvement and permission based structure. So with that little snippet, which wasn't much, what do you think they were able to reinforce?
I don't think they reinforced much, in my opinion. When I see things like, that's why I met with the government so many times. I see you were coached. I see you don't like public speaking, but you made a video, right? Like these are the things that they didn't really attack what he said. He pretty much laid the foundation of you were silent for no reason because you're not even a silent person. You're very much out and about. You're very much living your life, and you're trying to play this game. I think they missed the mark a little bit because they weren't. And I'm looking at my iPad every time I look over here because I have it
No,
up.
you fine.
But I just think they missed the mark with some of it. I know it might not be all of it, but some of it. I say that to say like, okay, you know, they're trying to build the thing about the enterprise by saying they're doing this whole it's under your job. This is in the scope. This is not a tort case, right? This is not a personal injury type of case, or like, you know, so what I'm looking at it as, you had a job. People sometimes work and then they do things for leisure and they intertwine all the time. You're trying to basically tie this into a knot, and it's very much plain to me. But that's also coming from my eyes as the defense. But I'm just looking at like this. You talk to a pro bono lawyer. Now I don't know if she's allegedly broke. I don't know what that even means. But if you're in this industry and you kept living your life and you were able to find a job outside of him and you kept going, what is you going to engage with a pro bono lawyer helping? What does that have to do with us? Right? Like, it means absolutely nothing to us as the public because we see all of you as high profile people. You were engaged with a high profile person. You made high profile money. I see no reason why you had no way to figure out your way to go tell somebody. You could have told your pillow at night and the tears on that pillow, you saved it. You could have had some draws saved from any of these incidents or something. She has absolutely nothing. And I'm sorry, but she is the typical idea of what I look at when somebody is going to say it happened to me too, and we're just supposed to believe her. I'm saying I didn't see it, and I don't think their redirect helped at all. And I think it doubled down on, you're just here because they told you to be here. And you're just another one in line. So I think they did it. To me, it wasn't effective. And I've seen these type of redirects, and it's a loss. But this witness is a loss for them. This is the defense witness now. So that's how I see this entire questioning in my eyes. I think she's good for him. It's going to basically say that y'all didn't charge the right thing. Like, that's. I mean,
I think the jury, you know, which is they got to deal with a lot, but
me too.
Sometimes you just, and I know what juries do. They go back there and they would be like, okay, well, today went to the government. Oh, today went to the
right.
Oh, you do not want them going back there doing that kind of
right
picking apart of the case. So some of the takeaways that from day 14 that I want y'all to kind of keep in the back of your mind, because like we said, it's 4 more weeks, or probably about 4 or 5 more weeks of this. That today, because we had 2.5 day, like literally 3 days of Mia on the stand. The psychological grip. Mia explained how Diddy maintained control through power dynamics, public praise, and private punishment. The survivor behavior. Her testimony reflects classic patterns of trauma bonding, coercive control, explaining delayed disclosure. Now, the defense tactics was still leveraged her continued proximity to Diddy to challenge her narrative, which, like I said, out of all of them, I feel like she had the best. I mean, he had the best way of countering on cross-examination. The government strategy preview may aim to reinforce the consistency is not required in trauma survivors and focus on corroborating patterns. That's what I see the government. They are hunging in on patterns and not necessarily smashing everybody together. So it's going to be interesting. I think they need to regroup the defense and start going down the path that still has laid out, because he's literally giving you like the pathway of how this case can sway if you do an effective cross. And whether you want to be on demon time, because he was on demon time. Like he must have had listened to Future before he went into Cross. Then he turned Future up even more. I ain't gonna say he listened to Young Thug. No, he listened to Future.
Had to.
Because he turned Mia every which way but loose. And I'm pretty sure Mia, if she had a voodoo doll, she would make one of him and she would pinch the shit out of him every day to where he don't know who pinching him, why they pinching him, what's the reason. And yeah, that's what I would do. Girl, go get you one of them dolls and pinch the shit out of him how he was doing you on that stand. So with that, we are to the end. Do you have any final things that you believe is going to come up with the case? And before we get to the end, y'all, make sure you are liking before you exit. And I also saw a question that I'm going to ask by Tanya, because it was really short. It was about revealing her identity. Her identity was revealed to the court. The videos are in evidence. It has been passed around all over the internet. So me playing it, I only played it because it has been made public. I would not have played it if it's not a public video that, one, has been entered into evidence, two, has made its appearance to the magnitude where, I mean, we knew who she was back last week, but that's the reason why the video was played, because it has been admitted into evidence and it has been released to the public. So yeah, do you have any final words while they are making sure they are liking the video?
I just think that this case is going to come down to the elements, and unfortunately, it's going to be a very element driven. And if they have the right jurors who are really trying to look at everything and listen and remember what everything they have, they're going to have a hard time. I think the government's going to have a hard time with what they charge. I think it's because of how hard they went on the charges. And had they have not maybe charged it the way they did, I get that they're trying to hit that pattern, and I get it, but it has to be cohesive. And I don't care if he has these little things going on. They're not showing me stacked enterprise. What they're showing me is that there's just this one person who's a demon, right? Like, you're showing me one horrible person, and you're not showing me like how they all fall in line, right? Because right now they're not willing participants. And I believe when you look at an enterprise, you're looking at people who were like, I'm doing exactly this, not because I was coerced, but because we all doing it. Normally in a RICO, you see multiple defendants. And see, when they didn't get more than one person, I already knew they were having a little bit of a fail. Like with Young Thug, they had multiple. So they made their way to make this a thing.
Yeah.
They didn't do that well for this one. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah.
But I won't count the government out, but I'm team defense, so I always feel like we're gonna come out on top. But I mean, in the end, I do. You want to see justice in a sense, because we all aren't crazy. Like, we all know some ain't right here, right? Like, but also that's their job. Charge the right thing. If they would charge the right thing, the person, we shouldn't be trying to just get it for the grab. You need to get him for these victims. If there really are victims, get him for what he did. Don't get him for what you want him to do. And that's the one thing I say that they need to focus on right now.
I agree. Like, I think we're in a stage where prosecutors are overcharging at a higher rate because there are not a lot of us. And even with us, they discredit how we go about proceeding on cases. So let me tell y'all, if you're not voting, this is going to continue to happen. The cycle is going to continue to happen because your district attorney is in charge of how cases are being tried while they're in office. So I just I want y'all to make sure y'all are voting for the right people, because this is how we get into these situations, with these kind of cases. The Freaky Rico, first ever Freaky Rico, to ever be tried, and probably is gonna be the last to ever be tried, unless it's time for them to go and get them Clive Davises, because baby, Clive, where Clive at? Bring Clive to the front of the room.
They could have did R. Kelly if they would have done it right. They could have did a real RICO, and it was literally all there. He had everybody in line who willingly did it, and they didn't even try with him. Then you try with somebody you don't have willing. You're not showing me anybody who's really willing and able and ready to do this type of crime. So the organization has to stand on something. I'm not seeing it standing. They didn't try this one time and say, you know what, we tried and we're not doing this again. It's not the one.
Well, I want to thank you for being my co-counsel tonight on the Public Opinion Court. I really enjoyed not only you, but how you broke it down and how you brought a different perspective, especially from the defense standpoint, because I want the audience to always get an equal distribution so that they can also make an informed decision when they are judging the credibility of the evidence. Because like we say all the time, the burden is and will always be the state's burden, which is the highest burden. And if there is any doubt, then that means that you have to find that person not guilty. It doesn't mean that, they get away. Right. It just means that this is how justice was served in this manner. And like I tell people all the time, sometimes justice is them having to go through trial.
Yeah.
Sometimes justice is an arrest. Sometimes justice is just having to be inconvenienced, so that you can understand that this is not the lane that I want to continue to drive in. So I'm going to drive in a lane that I'm supposed to go in and keep straight and only look to the side to see if any crackheads are coming, yeah, go on over there. That's the only time you can look over.
I don't want you wiping my windows today. It's okay.
Hi, Kiara. Oh, you can watch it back. You can watch it back. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the Public Opinion Court in collaboration with the Real Life Street Stars. Now, I've already told you how you can follow me, Gloria Beck ESQ. That is my personal. My business is the BYOB firm. For all my business owners in the chat or in the rooms or on different platforms, go and get your consultation, because listen, with the way the government is, there is going to be more opportunities for you to be your own boss, because you don't want to get fired by this man. But that's neither here nor there. And also, you all know that I have published a book, Shut Up and Prosecute. Amazon, go get your copy. When I tell you I'm naming everything. There's no crumb left. This is only part 1, and a documentary will be coming very soon. And with that, I'm going to let my co-counsel tell y'all how you can follow her, and if you in the area, get to her.
So first, it's easy. If you just remember my first name, how to spell it, you'll find me, because I'm the only one that you're gonna find. But my Instagram is I am Yaladria.esq. And then also my law firm is Drummond Law Group on IG. It's on Facebook. I'm on all things pretty much. But y'all can find and follow me there. I don't have as much fun as Miss Lawyer Bay over here doing her thing. But if you want a criminal defense attorney that'll do what Demon Time still did, then follow your girl. I do.
All right, Demon Time. Listen, I done gave this man a whole new identity, and we're going to stick to it because he was on Demon Time, y'all. Yes, now, with that being said, I will see y'all tomorrow. I want to inform y'all that the time will be pushed up by 15 minutes to 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time, because I want to make sure that I am giving you all the hot topics and not going into the time of breaking down the case. I will tell you this, they got some heat on the way tomorrow with some of the witnesses, and allegedly one of the other victims is being flown in from overseas. I don't know where, but it's an international victim, and this is going to And that's supposed to be happening on Wednesday or Thursday. But we gonna see. We gonna see. So with that, y'all have an amazing night, and I will see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you. See y'all.